A very good morning to everyone. Hope you guys are having a great day. Today we will be presenting about the factors of the emergence of colonism in Malaya, prepared by Group Historical. Our group members consist of 10 people, which includes myself, Taran, Muhammad Ashraf Shah, Tameshwaran, Muhammad Hazi, Ravi Sankaran, Abdul Raif, Glory, Firas Yassin, Muhammad Nazrin Haikal, and Naim. This page shows us a table of content, which basically shows us the content that is being presented by our group members in this scrapbook.
Hi, here is our introduction. First and foremost, colonialism is the practice by which a powerful country and use their resources to increase its own power and wealth. Colonialism also can be defined as exploitation by a stronger country of weaker one, which they use of the weaker country's resources to strengthen and enrich the stronger country. The second thing, the first country colonized by Malaysia is Portuguese in 1511. During the 16th century, Malacca developed into the most important trading port in Southeast Asia because Malacca is a strategic location and many more. The Portuguese realized enormous profits from especially lucrative spice trade that passed through the port. So, the Portuguese colonized Malaysia to take control of the maritime trade in the east and to spread Christianity. The, the third one, the factor of Dutch colonized Malaya is to control the thin area in Malaya Peninsula in 1641. British also colonized Malaysia to streamline the administration of the Malay states and especially to protect and further develop the lucrative trade in tin mining and rubber in 1867. The Japanese also colonized Malaysia because Malaya had half of the world's tin and a third of its natural rubber, and also to establish a new Great East Asia government in 1941 and 1942. Finally, Europeans were interested in colonized Malaysia because of the growth of tin and gold mining, and also associated service industries led to the first influx of foreign settlers into the Malay world.
The following pictures are related to the colonization of Malaya. The first picture says British, Dutch, Portuguese, Siam and Japanese have been colonized in Malaya. The second picture shows us about the history of Malaya starting 1700 until 1965. The third picture shows us the map of Malaya and the neighborhood country during the colonization of the Dutch, Portuguese, British and etc. The fourth picture tells us about the British Malaya and British Borneo during the 1790s. The last pictures explain us about the detail of the colonization that took place in Malaya.
Alright, on this page, there is a validity of information based on the graphic. On this page, we state the link that we use to find any information.
5 lessons that we can learn from this topic is that we should build courage in ourselves to ensure safety and protection of our country, namely like Tok Gajah and Mat Saleh, who sweat tears and blood for their country against fellow colonists. We should also ponder with absolute rationalism when making whether small or important decisions when the country is at stake. Malaysia nowadays is in desperate need for great leaders to strive for the country's glory and thus demand for rational leaderships.
In order to create a concrete and powerful nation that can evade any colonialism or threat from other countries, us Malaysians must be united as one. The power of numbers can be proven to be effective, such as nationalism during the Japanese colonial era and Rentap defense against the James Brooke army. We must also be well educated and know the difference between the rights and the wrongs in order to not get influenced by foreign propagandas such as the Asia for Asians slogan, which was used by the Japanese to divide the people of Malaya. Finally, we must never forget history as it teaches us how past societies, systems, ideologies, and cultures were created and how they've changed now. It is also our duty to never forget the sacrifices our ancestors have made to create this country we're living in now. We must learn through their mistakes and should make sure it doesn't repeat again in the future.
There are 5 good values that can be cultivated from this topic. The first one is courage. It is because the people fought the colonists by using arms without being scared of being hurt. It occurred in every state due to the colonists' action that imposed excessive tax rates, violated Malay customs and religion of the local population. And also, they restrict the higher official source of income from taxes and oppressed the people. For instance, in Pahang, Tok Gajah and Dato Bahamun launched a holy war when the British resident introduced the pox of tax collector and magistrate. The second good value that can be cultivated from this topic is rational. Since Malaysia had been occupied and colonized by several foreign powers, efforts to free the country were undertaken in earnest. We will view the efforts carried out by various parties to free the country from the spectre of colonialism and thus independence.
So the next value is unity. The definition of unity means strength is the best proverb to the life, and it means that people come together with great purpose and make the oneness. For example, when the Japanese used the police force to fight MPAJA, Malaysian people anti-Japanese army had caused racial friction and tension between the Chinese and the Malays. Moreover, after the defeat of the Japanese in World War II, MPAJA took over the country for 14 days and they took revenge on the Malays whom they accused of supporting the Japanese. This shows there were no unity among the Chinese and Malay during this era.
Next one is smart. The British carefully planned their colonization for the Malay territory as they obtained the information needed and the reasons to colonize the place. They also brilliantly planned on how to keep their success as to use the advantages that they have into securing the place of colonization. For example, the British uses the opening of the Suez Canal, which had given them the opportunity to sail to the east very fast. By this opening, they could strengthen their position in the east. And lastly, between the British and the Japanese that tried to colonize the Malays, the British have had the most time colonizing the country. This is due to the patience in trying to colonize the country that they have keyed in all the factors in order to truly secure the position, unlike the Japanese who only occupied Malaya for approximately 3.5 years, while the British occupied the country from 1826 to 1957. When the Japanese controlled Malaya, they failed to control in all aspects that made them blunder and allowed the British to take control again of the Malays. This showed us that in order to obtain something, truly, it's by building it slowly and not rushing it. Like Samin Jan once said, it is patience under immense pressure that turns a dull piece of gold into a shining diamond. That is all from me. Thank you.
The conclusion I can make from this topic is the struggle for independence can be divided into two phases: the struggle with bloodshed and the struggle through negotiation. The first phase of the struggle had seen many people killed. The second phase had witnessed the effort to avoid bloodshed, which many associations were formed and the mass media were utilized to stir the spirit of nationalism. The struggle became earnest when British introduced the Malayan unit, especially the Malays who had shown the strongest position due to erosion of the Malay rulers, powers and sovereignty, as well as the Malay side. To make their struggle more effective, many political parties were formed with various objectives. Some were formed on the ethnic base and some were cross-ethnicity. Even though British government had received much
opposition there were still reluctant to claim independence to the country because of the problem of unity among them. Among those four colonies, it was British and Japanese who left the greatest impact on the country. The British wisely intervened in the administration of the Malay state and introduced different forms of administration such as the resident system, the federated Malay state, and the non-federated Malay state. It was the British who created a plural society with different economic, social, and political functions. The Japanese, on the other hand, had created tension among the people, especially between the Chinese and the Malays. It was the Japanese who drove the Chinese to form communist guerrillas. The activities of communists became rampant until the British government had to declare an emergency throughout the country. The era of emergency had witnessed the loss of life and the destruction of property. However, the emergency was also a blessing because it expedited the process of achieving independence.
Thank you so much for everyone listening to our presentation. I really hope this presentation made you guys learn something from this topic. Thank you.